All right, example 5, the last example here. We're going to do some more transformations. And if you're understanding how the transformations work with everything, this one will probably not be too bad. But let's take a little quick breakdown and compare it to the parent function. I notice the a value is -2. There's no h, but we have a k value of +1. So these values tell me, from the -2, it tells me it is reflected in the x-axis and stretched vertically. Notice we don't say narrow here because that's not quite how it works. It's taller. Uh, from the +1, we know it's translated up 1. So that's my comparison to the parent graph. Domain and range. Well, domain, all I have to do is take a look at the radicand. The radicand is still just x, so my domain is nice and easy. I just need x to be greater than or equal to 0. And we'll find out what the range is in a second when we plug it into our table of values. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9. Square root of 0 is 0, times -2 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1, times -2 is -2, plus 1 is -1. Square root of 2 is 1.41 times -2 is 1.41 is -2.82 plus 1 is -1.8, -1.8. Now I'm going to start plugging these in my calculator here real quick. -2 times the square root of 3, close that parentheses, plus 1. Now I'm going to write it out here. When I'm doing these ones in my calculator, because there's multiple steps going on, I got the -2 times the square root of 3, and I'm going to make sure I close that parentheses off before I hit the plus 1. Otherwise, what your calculator reads, the square root of 3 plus 1. If you don't put that parentheses there, it thinks the parenthesis belongs on the outside, so it's going to give you the square root of 4. So just be careful of that parentheses. Do this one, not that one. All right. -2.46, so I'll just say -2.5. And I can plug in 4. We get -3. Plug in 3. We get, oops, I did the square root in my head first. Negative, we plug in 9. We get -5. So here it looks like my graph is going down, but it looks like it's in the first and the fourth quadrant. So when I draw my graph here, I gotta move this guy down. There we go. And all right, looks like that should work for us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I kind of like drawing these out for you here because when I talk it out, you kind of get a sense for how I make these tables the way that or these coordinate planes the way that I do. And it's all because I'm taking a look at the table of values and figuring out what numbers I have there, and it tells me where on the number lines I need to be. So x values, starting at 0, 1. That 1, -1. 2, -1.8. 3, -2.5. 4, -3. Then all the way over at 9, it goes down to -5. So there is my graph. The only thing left to do is the range. So it's y such that y, it's going down, so it's going to be a less than or equal to. All I have to do is figure out what the y coordinate is at that endpoint, and that y coordinate happens to be positive 1. So, got my comparison, my domain and range, and my graph.